Local history requires specific research into a place. Yes, we can find out about the history of an area by walking its streets, by finding out the names of people buried in the cemeteries, by looking for the reminiscences of people who used to live there. But to really get to know the history of an area, we have to dig behind those sources of information into official records of who owned land. After all, one of the things about Australia as the land of opportunity was that almost everybody had an opportunity to own land. They may not always have kept it, they might have gone bankrupt, they might have had to sell it because opportunities were elsewhere and they wanted to live somewhere else. But land records in New South Wales are one of our most exciting untapped historical resources. Learning how to search the history of a block of land, whether you live in Sydney or whether you live in the country, is an important way of understanding what was going on in the past in your community. We are fortunate in New South Wales that the method of recording land ownership has been so consistently followed from 1792, and that we have two sets of records, one covering 1792 to 1863 called Old System, and then the newly introduced Torrens title system that comes after the Selection Acts of the 1860s and is introduced in 1863. The Department of Land and Property Information has been working for many years to digitise these essential historical resources to make them more easily available for people who can't get to Sydney to do their own research. And as these records and their indexes become digitised and available, it is then possible for all historians, whether they're local historians or family historians, to trace what is happening in the communities that they're interested in. Land settlement in Mudgee is an interesting case study in a town. One of the things about Mudgee, it is very settled very early after the crossing of the Blue Mountains, but the land is not sold for a town until the 1840s. So what we see in Mudgee is a combination of what is called Old System land and Torrens title. Much of the town was surveyed and offered for sale in the 1840s, and the records for that part of the town are all in the Old System records that need to be researched in Sydney. In the surrounding areas, we can see that Mudgee is just on the edge of what was called the 19 counties, and land settlement within the 19 counties is by land grant and Old System. But just beyond Mudgee and Wellington and the counties beyond, the land was squatting districts, and that meant that when it was divided into smaller portions of land, it was opened up for free selection and for sale, and so land there is under Torrens title. On the section of the RAHS website devoted to the project Beyond the Blue Mountains, you'll be able to see there a segment of a seminar that we gave at Mudgee about how to do land title research. It's specific to Mudgee, but the principles will give you some indication of why you should look to do land title research for your area.